All right, we're moving into volume of solids, and volume is the amount of space that a substance or object occupies or that is enclosed within a container. So how much can something hold? So we've talked about perimeter, which is around the outside of an object. We've talked about area, which is how much carpet or paint you would need to cover a wall or a floor. And now we're moving into volume, and that's how many cubic pieces would I need to fill a certain object. So if you think about a box, how many one by one by one little cubes would I need to fill that box? So the formula overall for volume of prisms is capital B times H. And capital B stands for the area of the base. So depending on what kind of base it has, that area, that capital B, kind of changes with the different shapes. And then, of course, H stands for the height of the prism. So how tall is the prism? So the first one we're going to talk about here is a triangular prism. And the bases here, it's not sitting on its bases. The bases are the triangles here at the end. There's two of them. And that capital B is then replaced with area of a triangle, which is 1/2 times base times height. And the part inside the parenthesis is just focusing on the triangle. Then that H at the end is how tall the prism actually is. So that would be, if we flipped it up on the triangle, how tall would it be? And then rectangular prism, we would take the length times the width times the height. So in the parentheses, again, the area of the base would be length and width, and then we would times it by how tall the prism is. So the rectangular prism is pretty simple. All right, so for this one, we're going to find the volume of this prism, and it's a rectangular prism. So I'm going to do length times width times height, and those numbers are 3, 10, and 4. And 3 times 10 is 30. 30 times 4 would be 120, and these are inches. And volume is in the third dimension, so it's cubic inches. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 120 cubic inches. So that means 120 little 1 by 1 by 1 cubes would fill up that box. Okay. Next is this triangular prism, and this has a right triangle. This is a right angle right here for the base. So we're going to have to do 1/2 times the base times the height. And again, remember that's for just the triangle. And then we multiply it by how tall the prism is. So in the parentheses, we're getting numbers from just the triangle. So the base, it's sitting on 4, and its height is 3. It's 3 tall. And then the height of the actual prism, if we flipped it up and sat it on that triangle, would be 11. So 1/2 times 4 would be 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 11 is 66. And these are cubic centimeters. So it would take 66 of those little 1 by 1 by 1 cubes to fill this one. And then lastly, another triangular prism could look like this. So we're going to use the same formula, 1/2 times base times height, and then multiply it by how tall the prism actually is. So looking at just the triangle right now, we're looking at just that part. The base would be 5, it's 5 across there. And how tall is that triangle would be this line in the middle, which is 4.3. And then we have to multiply that by how tall it would be if I flipped it up on that triangle. So that would be this 14. So 1/2 times 5 times 4.3 times 14 gives us 150.5, and these are inches. So 150.5 cubic inches is the volume of this triangular prism.